So I was thinking that I'll record a short video about the topic that I just dropped as a LinkedIn post. Is basically about the challenges in 2024 that we are all facing, and that I talk repeatedly about with my clients within the mentoring. We see a certain development this year on the market. It's tough to find projects these days. It's at least a lot of new clients are experiencing this this phenomenon. I hear a lot the markets are saturated from different kind of groups and people. Decreasing rates, so the market is over flooded with resources who basically just challenge the market via the price and many other factors. It also comes to my mind that a lot of, especially a lot of freelancers these days, or small businesses who have just started, are experiencing this problem. Whereas clients who already are a little bit bigger in terms of a team, or are already a lot bigger, so are scaling also internationally, do not really experience this kind of problem. Where there's actually the opposite the case. They have too many projects sometimes, so here the focus is actually expanding the team. But as we know, it's a scale, so the one side is shifting always to another. But let's get back to the actual challenge that we're facing and the problem. Like, what is different in 2024? And why do many freelancers or small business owners within the IT consulting niche in Germany or DACH region are facing this problem of not finding any projects? Why do the markets seem to be saturated? Why do the only variable is the price here? And it's a topic that I write and talk a lot about, especially within our client group calls and one-to-ones. So first of all, the economy, and I'm just to be fair, I'm not really following a lot, but you cannot deny the fact that the economy is having a tough time. We're facing a recession. So obviously, customers, bigger customers, smaller customers, are a little bit more, let's say, not afraid, but cautious about how to, where to spend their budget, the money. And IT projects usually is something that can be put on hold, even though obviously operatively, when it's an ERP system or whatsoever, the business is entirely dependent on it. So, but again, here businesses seem to, a lot of times when the economy is a little bit, it's a little bit unstable, freelancers or external service providers are the ones who can be cut out quite easy. So that's the first step. We have seen that the last decades. Just look back in other financial crises or situations with COVID. So this is nothing new. It's just a little bit unstable. IT projects, digitalization will not, be put on hold. So there are projects out there. It's a little bit more a question on how do you search for projects. So what I hear a lot is that a lot of potential clients or clients, especially at the beginning, basically with all people that I'm discussing this topic about, is the solely way of searching for a project is via the platforms and other recruiters or headhunters. And don't get me wrong, this is one of the ways that it can work. It's obviously not the only one. We're going to get to that point, but then even using that way, what I see a lot is creating a search agent is my way of searching. It's a passive search. It's not even active sourcing. There's so many projects, so many platforms, so many potential partner companies that you can team up with in order to find projects and establish a win-win, however, how many companies or people are involved situation. So what I'm trying to say is, if your way of acquiring projects and customers is using the platforms that are awesomely there, because there's a lot of potential on these projects, and you're using third parties, just recruiters or headhunters or other service providers to get more projects and team up, create a partnership. Why don't you do it in a very active and a correct way? Why don't you put a lot of effort in establishing relationships with those partners instead of just sending your CV from A to B? I mean, you're a face, you need to know these kind of, like, it's business, so you're one of many. There's no differentiation. So here, very important is to build and to cherish the relationship that you can have with third parties, such as headhunters or recruiters or other service providers to get to project. Obviously, if you use platforms, create an active sourcing process out of it and an active application process if you apply for a project. And don't just create a search engine. I mean, is that all you can do? That's what I'm thinking. If the bottleneck currently is finding new clients, finding new projects, the focus should be completely on the sales part. And yes, of course, one of the reasons or one of the problems here is that that's the only channel to rely on the network or on others to acquire customers. That leads me to the next point. Obviously, if you have more than one sales channel, that makes you less dependent on one. That's just common sense. If you only rely on finding projects via platforms and other third parties, and right now a lot of people or businesses are doing that. I mean, consequently, the market seems a little bit saturated. That's also why a lot of people say the market is saturated. There are a lot of customers out there seek help. Maybe they haven't found the right people or the right company to support. Again, visibility here. For a lot of customers, only the big recruiters, headhunters, or the big consulting companies are visible. So then it's the question is how to become visible, how to become communicative towards those customers. So establish a real sales channel, a lead generation. Yeah? So another thing that's happening a lot is decreasing rates. Yeah, and same point here. A lot of third parties are pitching for the same project and customers. Then there's nearshoring, then there's offshoring. And I'm a big fan of nearshoring or offshoring. But there's obviously a price component. So if you're competing and comparing yourself against those companies, there's a different perspective on things, especially when you take a look at the prices. You cannot underprice yourself till a certain point. There is a line, and I've talked about that a lot with other people, especially freelancers. There's a line if it still makes sense to freelance. At some point, it's easier to be employed. And again, don't get me wrong. I really support. That's my job. Being independent, building a real business, as I did myself. But there's a financial aspect as well, so we cannot underprice till a certain point. Because here again, the only variable that's being regarded in these kind of sales chains, yeah. If you go over third party with the customers, obviously everybody wants to have 10, 20, 30% margin profit. But of course your price is being decreased. So again, the only way of searching for projects is relying on third parties or platforms. Basically the same in this case. That's why the only variable that counts at the beginning is the price. There's maybe some keywords that everybody's searching for, and that's all that happens. So there's no real evaluation, there's no real appreciation. That's why a lot of people get really depressed these days. They cannot find anything, they don't find any customers, not the right customers, especially if a little bit smaller. Again, if you're bigger, if you already have a team, a real consulting company, it seems to be a little bit different. It's the opposite the case. We have too many projects, what I hear a lot from clients. We need to expand the team. So, and again, ask yourself the question, what is the differentiation? Do they have different technology? Do they have different methods? Do they have anything that differentiates? No, it's the same. They have built a customer base. Maybe they know how to approach customers directly. Maybe they don't rely solely on searching via third parties. And maybe they're putting a lot of work into that. Yeah? Because here, the differentiation factor is how much effort do you put into your sales, into your marketing and sales, into your lead generation sales, if you even have that process. That's a question of how much outcome is there. It's a simple numbers game. And it's possible for freelancers as well. And especially that is differentiation factor when you are struggling right now. So don't waste your time anymore. If you use those channels, use them correctly. They're awesome. Use the project platforms that we use. Establish real relationship with partners that you work with. Appreciate the person behind them. And don't just see them as headhunters in the sense of here's a project. Work with selective ones. I'm not going to name any specific companies, but I like to work a lot with specific partners because they cherish you as a person, you as a company. Maybe bigger ones don't do that. You never know. Establish a relationship, work with them directly, show them who you are for what your business stands for, differentiate yourself from others. Markets are not saturated, and you can fight against these decreasing prices by being different, by being better than others, and really have an active search and active sourcing. Invest a couple of hours every day. If you don't have a project right now or you're lacking project, what the hell are you doing if you're not doing sales? If you're not doing outreach? If you're not doing lead generation? So stop wasting your time. Go and find projects. If you don't know, drop me a message and I'll get back to you and I'll try to help you. See my last post about this. I really, really want that you succeed. So don't waste time. Go to work. If you have questions, hit me up.